Guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, that's Maiwa. I know it's been a long time I did a sit down video. I've been putting out vlogs, but today I am doing a sit down video. And thank you if you're a returning subscriber for coming back, and if you're a new subscriber, my name is Maiwa. I'm a YouTuber based in Krakow, Poland, and I feel about travel, food, and generally my lifestyle in Poland. And as you might have noticed, I have been putting out a lot of UK vlogs, and in today's video I'm going to be telling you how I pretty much got my UK visa, because I live in Poland and I'm not British, so I had to apply for a visa to go to the UK from Poland. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing in this video. I hope you'll sit down, relax, and enjoy the video. Okay, so before we get into the key information that you need, I just wanted to give a disclaimer as always. I am not a travel agency. I am not paid to do this video. I'm just sharing my experience and step by step on how I applied for this visa. Please always check the website. Some things could have changed from this video by the time you're applying, but this is just a general overview of how I did mine. Now let's get into the video. There are 7 key steps I would say that you need to follow if you want to apply for the visa, and I'm going to be reading that from my notes here. So the first thing is to gather your documents. That's for anything you want to do like that has to do with visa, you need to gather your documents. The second thing, get familiar with the UK Embassy's website. I'm going to put the description below. And I live in Poland again, so I don't know if it's the same like website for all the countries. So please make sure you check that. But the link for the one in Poland, I'm going to put it in the comment section below. And what the next thing to consider after you get familiar with the UK Embassy website is to know the type of visa that you are applying for. So when I did mine, I used the visiting visa. That was the type of visa that I applied for, and it's valid for 6 months. The first time you are applying, it's valid for 6 months. So the official name of the visa on the website is called the Standard Visitor Visa, and the type of entry is multiple entry. And after the 6 months validity, if you apply again, then you can apply for 2 years. That's how it works. So the first visa is usually for 6 months. And then the fourth step, I wasn't counting initially, but the fourth step is to, of course, go to the UK Embassy website to apply. I forgot to mention that it's UK Embassy and TLS. I will explain what I mean eventually in the video. Just stay with me, okay? And then the fifth thing that you have to do, of course, is to book your appointment. The sixth thing is wait for your decision, and the seventh thing is to pick up your passport, and your decision will be in the passport. Hopefully it's a successful decision. Now we are moving to the documents that you're going to need for this application, and that's why I said gather your documents in the beginning of the video. So the first thing you need is your international passport. The second thing you need is your residence permit in the country that you're residing. So if you're in Europe, then usually we have the residence permit. In Poland, you need to have your residence permit decision. So that's the third document. So you need your residence permit and the residence permit decision translated to English, because you know in Poland they give us in Polish. So you have to go and translate it with a translator. The next thing you need is a letter of invitation. So if somebody will be inviting you, or if you have somebody in the UK that can give you that letter, you can attach that. But it is not mandatory in any way, shape, or form. This is an optional document. The next thing is the passport bio data of the person that is inviting you. So the person that is writing this invitation letter must also send you a copy of their passport bio data, pretty much the first page of the passport that has the information. That's what you need to attach. Next document that you're going to need is, of course, your hotel or hostel accommodation. Depending if you are traveling on budget, then of course it can be an hostel. If not, an hotel accommodation. I recommend to use booking.com. Booking.com, if you are seeing this video, sponsor me. Then the next document is your bank statement. You need a 3-month bank statement. Next part applies to students. So if you're a student that is applying for the visa, you need a copy of your university enrollment letter or your student confirmation letter, something to prove a document to prove that you are a student, and you can get this from your university. And then the next document applies to if you're somebody that is working in Poland, then you need to get a letter of employment from your employer, and I will break it down. The last but not the least is also applicable to certain people. So if you're under the age of 18, then you need to attach a birth certificate. If you're older than 18, you don't need to attach a birth certificate, but if you're under 18, you need to attach a birth certificate. So those are all the documents that you need. I will also put a list on the screen so that you can just take in screenshots and it's just easier for you. So now that we've discussed the list of documents, now let's go into details what these documents should look like. So international passport. Your international passport should be valid for at least 6 months. That's very important before you apply for the visa. If it's less than that, then the probability that you wouldn't get it is high. And also the validity of your passport should be longer than the duration of your stay. If you're applying for more than 6 months, then your passport should be valid for more than 6 months. This is basically what I mean. The next one is residence permit. So as a foreigner in the country that you're living in, I'm using myself as an example. In Poland, you need a residence permit, and you also need the residence permit decision. They always give us a decision. So your decision is the legal backing of the actual resident card that you get. That's why they need you to attach the decision to it. So please attach the decision translated. Very important. Don't go and attach the Polish version. Put the translated version. The next part is the letter of invitation. Like I mentioned earlier, it's not mandatory in any way, shape, or form, but maybe it could help your application. If you have somebody, tell them to write this letter, and it should include their name, their address, what they do for a living, and so on and so forth. Things like that. That's what should be included in the invitation letter. So for the hotel accommodation, I'm going to kind of read out what it should look like. So first, like I said earlier, I advise to use booking.com. It's just easier. That's what I use, and everybody that I know really, that's what they use to do the application. And the reason why is because on booking.com you can check for accommodations that have the possibility for cancellation. That's the first thing. And then you also have your opportunity to choose accommodation that does not have the prepayment option. So you can book without paying at first. That's what I mean by that. That way you're not fighting with a company to refund your money or something like that. Yeah. And then don't forget to cancel the accommodation before the deadline, which will be most likely after you've gotten your visa. So after you've gotten your visa, don't forget to cancel this accommodation if you would not be needing it. So let's say that the person that is inviting you is going to host you, then of course you need to cancel this accommodation because you will not be needing it anymore. Another thing that is good to know about your accommodation is to make sure that the accommodation is 6 weeks from the date that you are applying at the minimum. My visa application, the whole process took about a month, but I had a friend that his own took about 6 weeks, which is like a month and a half. So that's why I said give that 6 week grace when you are booking the dates of your accommodation. Once you book this, make sure you of course download this, and I think the dates that you are putting should also tally with the dates that you are planning to travel to the UK. It doesn't necessarily mean the actual date that you're traveling to the UK, but just an estimate of when you will get the visa. Just put your date around that time. If you have any question, if it's more confusing, just ask me in the comment section and I will explain to you further. Okay. Next thing is your bank statement. This is very important. Listen and open your ears, okay? So on the website, you'll be asked usually how much you intend to spend when you are in the UK, and of course depending on your duration in the UK, that is going to determine how much you are going to need in your bank account. Ensure that your bank accounts or your bank statement has the amount that you intend to spend in the UK. So again, I live in Poland, so I'm going to be using Poland as an example. You can put, for example, 5,000 PLN. That's about 1,003 euros and about £1,000 in your bank statement for a duration of, for example, 3 days. And if you're going to be using times 2 of that, so that will be like 10,000 zloty and so on and so forth. Just do the math like that. Because again, the UK is very expensive. So I know in your mind you might be thinking, I might not spend up to 5,000 zloty, but it's just better to put more than what you think you will spend. So realistically you might not spend more than 3,000, but just put 5,000, because again it's safer to have more in your account than to have less. So I watched somebody's video and they put 6,000 zloty in their account, so that's about 1,000 plus pounds pretty much, or 1,000 plus euros. That's what they put in their account and they got it. So you can put 5,000, 6,000, 10,000, whatever you feel, depending. This is depending on the number of days. So I know that the minimum you probably spend is like the weekend, so that's like 3 days. That's why I said put 5,000 zloty for 3 days. Of course, if you're all over, you just want to fly in and fly out the same day, that one is your business, but yeah, that's what I personally would suggest. Also, if you have a salary coming in, that means if you're employed and your salary is coming in every month into your account, your bank statement is going to reflect that, and that's also a good bonus, because they know that you have a stable and you have a regular income. So the next thing is the university enrollment certificate. Just go to your school and ask them for this. They will provide it to you. If you normally you should already have it, but I think normally you should have the most recent one, because they usually put a date on it. So just go to your school, ask them for this, and they will provide it to state that you're a student, to state how many years of is your study. So if the duration of your study is like a year or it's like 2 years, it's gonna state it there. If you're working, then just go to HR, email your HR, call them, however you reach them, and ask them for certificate of employment. Usually in Poland, our certificate of employment includes like your role, your salary, and it will also state if you're a temporary employee or if you're a permanent employee. It's also going to state it there. Now that we've gotten all your documents in order, it's time for you to go to the UK embassy website to apply and answer some questions. So I'm going to read out the list of questions and explain how to fill them for you, because you need to fill this information once you go to the website. So the first question here is, how long do you want to stay in the UK? So you state how long you want to stay in the UK for. In my own, I was there for 3 days, so I put 3 days there. So if you want to stay for 3 days, 1 month, it doesn't matter, because your visa is going to be 6 months anyway, so you can even put 3 months. I don't think it matters in any way, shape or form. The next thing is your travel history. They are going to ask you for your travel history. So if you're somebody that have not traveled a lot, then I think it will be easier for you. But travel history pretty much means everywhere that you've traveled to prior to applying for the visa from your country of origin. I'm from Nigeria, so I put all my travel history. But I think, I'm not so sure, but I think you can put maybe your last 3 to 4 latest travel, really, and that should be helpful. But they will ask you to fill in your travel history. The next thing is where would you be staying? So again, they're asking for your accommodation. So you can put there like your hostel, or you can put the hotel information. So that's what you're going to fill in that place, the hotel that you've already reserved prior to going to the website. And that's why I said again, you need to prepare your documents before you go to apply. They'll ask you for the purpose of your visit. I put that I was visiting my in-law. So my in-law was the one that was going to host us, and that was what I put there. And I also said that I was going to visit some site attraction while I'm there, so like the Buckingham Palace, like the London Bridge, and if there are any fun locations, that just be honest really for the purpose of visit. They are not going to like judge you based on that. So put, or if all the tourist attraction that you want to like visit, put it in your application. And of course, they will ask you for your employer details. So they will ask for the company name, the address, the NIP, the phone number of your employer. You will see it. So I'm sure that you have this either on your work contract, or if you go to your company's website, you'll find it there. If you are not sure, email your HR and they will send it. Also ask you for your average spend per your duration in the UK. So that means they're asking for what's the average you'll be spending for the duration that you'll be staying. I stayed for 3 days. Like I said, you can stay for more if you're staying for a week, and you have to estimate how much you're going to spend. And that's why I said that you should put a little bit more. So if you're staying for 3 days, I would advise to put between 5,000 to 6,000 zloty. That's about 1,300 euro, and that's like 1,000 pounds. That's what I would advise to put in your account, because from videos that I watched and everybody that I know, this is like the average that they put in their bank account. Some people put more, some people put 10,000 zloty, to be honest, but I would say that on average put 5,000 to 6,000 zloty as your average spend in the UK. Also ask you for your gross salary, and they will ask for the annual gross salary, and they will ask for the monthly gross salary. So just go to your bank statement and you fill this. Salary means the original amount that you get before tax. So if your salary is 5,000 zloty before tax, that's what you're going to put, and monthly and annually you just multiply 5,000 times 12. So that's what your gross salary is per year. You ask for your university details if you are a student, and so that's like the opposite of being a worker, where you put your employer's details. As a student, you put your university details. The last but not the least is they are going to ask for your monthly expenses. So here you need to be smart, of course. When you're putting in your monthly expenses, you have to look at what you earn and what you spend. I mean, from a financial point of view, you shouldn't be spending more than you are earning. But in case you are spending more than you are earning, please, once you are breaking it down, make sure that your spending is less than what you are earning. So you put the cost of your rent, of course, which is like your biggest spending, put the cost of your transportation, cost of your feeding per month, and just break it down there and do the sum times. So I would say if you're earning like again 5,000 zloty, you can say that your average spending is like maybe 2,000 zloty. I think that's a fair enough deal, because they need to, pretty much the reason why they're asking this question is psychology. They need to know how you can afford this travel, and if you are spending more than you are earning, how are you supposed to afford the travel realistically? You have nothing left at the end of the month. If you have 5,000 zloty and you're spending your entire 5,000 zloty, there's nothing at the end of the month to travel. So they need to see that you can afford the travel. That's the reason why they're asking you to break it down. So just use your common sense and you'll be fine. Once you've answered all these questions, then you click submit, of course, and it will take you to where you can pay. So once you've made your payment, it's going to direct you to the TLS website automatically. You don't need to do anything. Once it's directed to TLS website, and the next thing is for you to fill in your details. And again, I'm going to tell you, of course, what it is. The first thing is going to ask you is, do you want to do the self-service or do you want to have the assisted service? Once you get to the TLS website, it will ask you, do you want the self-service or do you want the assisted service? Of course, self-service is free, and assisted service you have to pay. Trust me, you don't need assisted service. Upload all your documents by yourself and you'll be fine. But if you're scared and you don't feel confident, of course, there's no crime in asking for help. So choose the assisted service option, and when you get there on that day, they're going to help you sort out your documents. So it's not a problem if you want to go for the assisted service route. And then it will also ask you how you want to keep your passport. So you have two options. You can either leave your passport there or you can keep your passport by yourself. And that's like the courier option is when you leave your passport there. So once your decision is ready, they will courier it to you, and it costs 33 euros. If you want to keep your passport, maybe you still want to travel during the duration of your visa process, that's not a problem. You can keep your passport, just that you have to pay for that. I know it's funny, right, that I'm paying for me to keep my passport and it's free for them to hold my passport. For me, it's like mind-blowing. Anyway, you have to pay £100 for you to keep your passport with you while they are processing it. So if you have £100 to pay, of course, go ahead. I chose this option because I had already booked a trip with my friend and I couldn't cancel, so I had to keep my passport, and yeah, I had to pay the £100 sadly. But if you don't have to do that. If you don't plan to travel in those 6 weeks, you can just leave your passport there and they'll courier it to you. The next thing is to now book your appointment. Once you filled in this information and you pick a date, of course, that is comfortable for you. For Poland, there are two offices where you can go for the thumb printing. There is one in Warsaw and there is one in Rzeszów. So Rzeszów is about 2 hours away from Krakow. It's closer to Krakow, but for some reason I went to the Warsaw one because I don't know, Warsaw is the capital and I just felt more safe. So But I don't think there's a difference. People use the one that is in Jeju. So if you live in Krakow, Poland, Jeju is 2 hours away. It's closer than Warsaw and cheaper transportation. But I did mine in Warsaw. The next point here is if you chose the self-service option, then you have to upload all these documents that I've stated earlier on the website by yourself. So you upload it, you make a scan on your phone and upload it clearly for them there and there, and then it will generate a GW number for you. It's this GW number that is like your identification number. So when you go for the thumbprint, they will use the GW. When you go back to pick it up, they will also use the GW reference number. So this is what you need. So yay, we've booked our appointment. You have your appointment date, and now all you have to do is go for your appointment on that day. And when you get there, they give you a time, but from my experience, I think sometimes you can even go earlier than the time if you want to, because sometimes they're not as busy as that time states. But it's still okay if you want to go at that time too. It's not a problem, but make sure you go there at the time that's been apportioned for you, really. If you go later, I don't really know. I didn't go later, so I cannot tell you what will happen if you go later. And once you get there, they're just going to call you in. They're going to, of course, go with the copy of your passport and go with a copy of your residence permit or your residence card. And they'll call you in, do your thumb printing, and it's a really fast process. It's like, I don't know, in like 20-30 minutes you are done, really, or even less. I don't remember, but it was a really fast process. You just take your thumb printing, and then they will tell you that they will email you once your document is ready. And once you're done, you just have to wait for your decision. And on this TLS website is when you can monitor the progress of your visa, really, to show you step by step where it is now, what are they doing, and so on and so forth. And then once you're done, they will send you an email that your passport is ready. If you chose the courier option, then they're going to tell you that it's ready, and then they will send it via courier. But I didn't use that option. I chose the option to keep my passport. So once it was ready, they emailed me, and I had to travel back again to Warsaw to pick up my visa. So I went there with my passport, and then they just gave me the visa there and there on that day. But I suggest that if you don't need your passport, just leave your passport there and do the courier option. But if you live in Warsaw, it might be also easier for you actually, because you just need to walk to the office. You don't need to travel like myself. So, and that's it really. And once your decision is ready, you will see if it was a success or if it wasn't. But if you follow this process, I am at least 90%, 99% sure that you will get your visa. It's really not that complicated. They are not so strict. You are not a criminal or anything, so there's really nothing. There's no reason why they will not give you the visa. So yeah, that's how to apply for your UK visit visa. And thank you so much if you made it to the end. I wish you all the best with your application. Let me know if this video was helpful. If you have any question, please put it in the comment down below. If you have anything that you need to add that I probably forgot to mention, please also put it down in the comments. Let's continue the discussion for others that will use this video. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share my video, guys. Please share the video. Please like the video. It helps YouTube to push my content out more. My goal is to reach 1,000 followers, and we are getting there month by month. And if you share it with your friend, we are going to get there by the grace of God. So until next time, it's your girl That Maiwa. Stay safe and bye. So that will probably apply to passport, to apply to people that are